whatever comes Village Hall,
Oh.
and the National Weather Service Station. So I'm pretty sure that they
We'll
could.
call to order the Historic Preservation meeting of October 5th. Could we have a roll call by voice, please?
Commissioner Barkley is absent. Commissioner Weinberger?
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez?
Here.
Commissioner Braden?
Here.
Commissioner Harlow?
Here.
Commissioner Prisby?
Here.
Chairman Bona.
Here. We have two sets of minutes to approve from the August 3rd and the September 7th meetings. I was not in attendance to either one of those, so I'll have to excuse myself from that review, but if you would all take a moment to go back through those and give us your thoughts or move to have them approved.
Want to do them one at a time?
Yeah.
I move to approve the minutes for August 3rd, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
August 3rd minutes are approved. Now September 7th, please.
Anybody find any issues?
No.
Well, then I'll move to approve the minutes for September 7th, 2022.
I second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
September 7th is approved. Good, thanks. Our first item on the agenda is a sign permit review, case A-23-2022, 45 South Washington Street, Peak Lifestyle, installation of 2 permanent window signs. Is there a representative here from Peak? Would you be kind enough to approach the podium, please, and introduce yourself?
I'm Tiffany Cruikshank. I'm the owner of Peak Running, and I'm bringing Peak Lifestyle to my hometown of Hinsdale. I have 4 other stores. This will be my 5th. Our customer experience, our goal is to fit people in the best possible footwear. Peak Lifestyle is also going to have a unique twist where our apparel, I sell Lululemon, Biore, Rabbit, a nice variety of footwear as well as apparel. All types of exercises, running, standing on your feet all day. We really are focused on, the customer coming in and having just a great experience walking out saying, wow, I didn't expect that. Simple goal. We love what we do. So, and the signs are very subtle, 2 window clings on either side of the window. Great visibility, but it's not going to be an eyesore by any means.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have any comments. It's easy.
There's no really place on the building to put signage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
that
this
sounds
design,
really
unless you
hard.
hang something and that's pointless. With that recess, you can't mount something tight to the wall underneath. And I would prefer the window signage at that point, so I really don't have any comments either.
There did used to be a sign kind of where you were just saying, like, kind of shoved in right above those
Right.
windows. But obviously that sign is gone now.
Was that where Starbucks had when it was Starbucks?
It
I'm trying to
wasn't,
remember where the signage was.
yeah, it was,
Starbucks?
it was a boutique,
this
boutique
building?
store. And I
Starbucks
think
started there.
I think Alexandria used to be there, and they've
Oh,
left.
Lapa.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I know
they
Starbucks
moved-
had something that's how they started, but was that the actual spot? I mean, location?
Was.
Yeah.
And
Ah.
then it was the chocolate, the hot chocolate.
Done a lot of things. Good.
Yeah.
Fine.
If there are no objections, could I have a motion, please?
I'll move to approve case A-23-2022, 45 South Washington Street, Peak Lifestyle, installation of 2 permanent window signs.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Thank you very much.
Congrats.
Appreciate it. Good luck.
Yeah, for sure. That's great.
We have a public meeting for case HPC-06-2022 for 241 East First Street. I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion because I live across the street. And so having said that, I will not vote, but I will lead our discussion. Julie?
I'm Julie.
Patrick?
You know me by now. J. Jordan Holmes, Patrick Portelka from Moment Design. These are the Richards, longtime residents of Hinsdale, wanting to build a new home for their family. Love the location. Love the Americana house that they're building. So we're super excited to show you.
Great.
I really like the design.
Let me see.
Again, thank you for the streetscape on both streets. That's very helpful.
Glad they're appreciated, they're a lot of work.
Are they? It is, they are helpful though. I feel like it fits in with the streetscape really well. I know this street well.
Oh, there's nothing there. Okay.
I think it's also, I'd like to remind everyone that I think it's terrific that you guys came in here before, right? So we've kind of reviewed this already. And we liked it last time, and it really hasn't changed. So, I mean, I like this symmetrical facade. I kind of like the blue door. I hope it stays that way. Could be, is there a reason why it's a
I
blue
like the
door?
blue door too. Yeah,
There you go, good answer.
I like it a lot.
And I think it's just a well-proportioned, well-scaled, good-looking house. I like the materials and really had no issues with it. And I think part of that is because I had a chance earlier to kind of opine on some things, and when I saw it come back and I could go back to my old notes, it made my life a lot easier. So I appreciate you guys coming in early last time.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
But we didn't know before, we'll always do that, that's easy.
Yeah, I don't have an issue or anything.
I think we've been longing for a sighting house on First Street. Dr. Ferries came down across the street. So I feel like it fits nicely.
Kaiser's is coming down to the west.
Another discussion.
No, I mean, this is a very nice looking house.
Nice job on it.
Yeah, it complements the streetscape.
Absolutely.
And the elm side looks really, I mean, it goes really well with the house next to it. It's scaled well.
I'm trying to think. I know that there's a paver driveway currently, or what's left of it, on the First Street side. Are there any horse tie-ups? No, there's not.
I don't think so.
So we lost the horse tie-ups across the street. They had promised to leave them and they didn't. And that was always, I feel like that it should go with the streetscape. You know, they've been there for almost 150 years.
The only comment I would make is I'd like to see a stage on Elm Street. We've had our fair share of construction on First Street with the house that replaced the Furies. And now we're going to have the Kaiser House come down to the west. So we've talked to the village about this. This is a personal request from me, but
And I hear you, and, you know, we'll do our best. We always work with the police to post signs.
yeah.
I'm literally
And the brick street, you
physically-
don't want to have heavy trucks going down the brick streets.
Yeah, I'm physically out there myself,
Yeah.
especially in the morning when the kids are going to school.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hard. We do our
Right.
best.
Thank you. I know it is a good thoroughfare going to HMS. It'll be a busy block. right?
I'm worried about my right to peaceful existence.
I'm happy I'm 2 blocks up.
But I mean, again, the house that was built next to us at Furious was well managed. It was virtually painless during the process, so.
We did have an issue with the trucks
Truck.
damaging the Brick Street.
But that's been solved, I think. I think. There's some big fines for big trucks going down First Street now.
And I'll make a note of that.
And all you gotta do is tell your ready-mix drivers,
Yeah, those are the heavy ones.
because they'll, once they pay one of those fines, they'll remember. So, get out in front of that if you can. Okay, very nice house. I'm sure it'll be well executed, and we look forward to having you in the neighborhood.
Congrats, guys.
Anybody else have any further comments?
No?
Well, how long is construction? 6 months, a year?
Oh, every bit of it.
6 months.
6 months,
4 months.
4 months.
3 years now.
Times 4.
Yeah, we really, I mean, we do our best to get our houses done as fast as possible. We probably make 75% of our houses in 13 months, which is, that's very fast.
Okay.
So we try for that. That's the permit. We try to pay for 1 permit. So that's our goal.
When are you gonna go on the ground?
Permit.
So you're ready to go?
We're ready.
Good. Okay,
This lot is, the house that used to be on this lot is the one my grandparents bought in the early 1950s when they moved here to Hinsdale.
That's right.
And it was a shame to see that come down. It hadn't been maintained.
It was in rough shape.
It was
yeah.
in rough shape. I still have,
It's hard to even see. It was so overgrown.
yeah.
Well, there were wildlife living in it.
We
And
have the
a lot of
doorknobs
different
from that
orders.
house. They were made into paperweights.
is that right?
Yeah. Anyway, someday those will go to the Historical Society, Shannon. But it's a beautiful home, and it's wonderful to see such a beautiful house to go in that spot, which is a very prominent location. So
Yeah.
thank you all around.
Good. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll do it. I move to approve case HPC 06-2022, at 241 East First Street, application for certificate of appropriateness to construct a new single-family home in the Robbins Park Historic District.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
You're approved, thanks.
Did you think it was gonna be that painless tonight?
No, I never know.
Neither do we.
Thanks, guys.
Neither do we. That's
Thanks, Patrick.
the quote of the day.
Okay. All right. Cruising right along. Public comment. Anybody, all those hundreds listening on television, watching on Channel 6? Anybody calling in? No? All right. New business? Do we have new business to talk about?
Oh,
Do we have old business to talk about? Bethany?
I think both.
Do you want new business?
Sure. So do you want to discuss some of the things that are on the table right now with signage downtown first, and then we can dive into,
Oh, do you want me to bring the,
is that old business or new business?
Signage is old.
And you were gonna talk to Lourdes and.
yeah,
that's-
Okay,
if you
so we
want to
don't
talk
need
about
to-
it.
we
We're
don't need to
following up on it.
Enter it into record. I wasn't sure. Okay.
Okay,
There's just a couple, a sign that popped up.
Yeah.
yeah. And thank you for notifying us of that, because,
Yeah,
know, that
I
one,
just, all I did was text Jim.
no, thank you, though, because
I
I think
think are you talking about the
Yeah.
plywood?
got a couple of.
That, and they painted that building today, by the way.
Which one?
The barber shop dying.
Barber
Barbershop.
shop, they had some
Next to
graphics.
Yankee Peddler.
Thought it was kind of cool for a little while, until somebody said it wasn't.
It
It was gonna come down, they're not gonna
nuts.
leave.
It wasn't nuts. And then, well, apparently a scooter ran through the building.
Yes, or a moped or something
not
like
too
that.
many.
And then the storefront glass, it took a while to order that,
Right.
so.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, Virgil
Gallery.
Catherine Gallery.
Right.
Put up, what did you call it?
Blade sign.
Blade sign. Thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep,
Didn't know that.
thanks for letting us know, and we'll follow up with them tomorrow.
Okay. I see our toppers are up. They're looking nice.
You look
Good,
great.
yeah, we've gotten a lot
Yeah.
of people actually complimenting us who are not part of historic preservation, of noticing them. So I think it's great to make people understand the boundaries now.
Yeah.
So
It's cool.
Looks
Yeah.
good.
We've only just begun.
we've only just begun.
That's right. That's great. So old business, Title 14. Bethany, why don't you give us a little synopsis on?
Yeah. So our historic overlay district has been approved. And we have gotten, since we had that wonderful Chicago Tribune article and the Hinsdalian article, we've had an immense amount of homeowners come and reach out to us, just excited about the program, some of which have future projects in mind, some of which don't, and just are really excited to get their house on the list. So it's created some really good attention, but also has created a lot more work, which is, we shouldn't complain about such a great thing, though. It's very exciting. So right now, what I have been working on is putting a letter together. We've been compiling the list, getting all their contact information of everyone that's first on it, who wants to be on the list. Then we've started drafting a letter to the homeowners to send out to them to make sure that, you know, we have some actual marketing material and that we can use this later when we actually start reaching out to people proactively on our own. And then we're creating a website page, and I'll be probably emailing you guys some of this stuff to take a look, make sure before we obviously send everything out. And then I'm working with the village attorney on some of the other items to actually get that list. We have a couple of months to do so. The good news is most of the people so far who have called, I've been able to find historic survey sheets on their homes. So we have some of that historic, information already documented. There's a couple of homes though that appear to be historic, but we just have to do more digging on them. But the good news is it's most of them. So
And you're working with the Historical Society?
not yet.
Not yet.
Because right now I was out of the office last
Okay.
week, and so I came back to a number of emails. And I've been talking to each of these homeowners separately. So I have a combined list of, everyone that's been interested. I've been trying slowly to do my own research, see what we have, and then I'll hopefully be able to reach out to you guys and see what you have
I
as
would
well.
think maybe some of those homeowners have information too.
Some of them
Yes.
do, which is great.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's been good. We've got some really cool homes that are interested in some cool projects as well, some of which are just cool homes, so it's been wonderful. So I will keep you guys posted on that. Like I said, we're working with building out the rest of the program, because at the end of the day, we still have, the nitty-gritty stuff of how we're gonna track this internally in terms of the financing side of things.
Right.
Eventually, there's gonna be a preservation agreement that just outlines, general requirements. But it's our first time going through this, so we appreciate all the homeowners' patience who have called, so.
I think the irony of all this is that probably in 30 years, there'll be 3 quadrants of Hinsdale that are historic, and the Robbins District will not.
Although there have been quite a few people in Robbins that have called, which has been great, so.
Is that right?
Yeah, quite a few of some of the homes, and some of the homes on blocks that I know, like on 7th Street, we had a couple of demolitions on that block recently.
That whole block is turned over almost.
We've had a couple of the remaining homes on that block call, which has been really great.
Okay.
So, it's definitely out there, and as soon as we get some of this marketing material together, we obviously want to create a separate email and letter to some of the real estate agents and builders. So that's next after we kind of get the homeowner list. We have been already engaging with some of our builders so that they're aware when their customers call that this is available too.
Great.
So it's been good so far, and we're
Good.
And
making progress.
I've been receiving some messages on our Facebook group, and I've been, encouraging people to reach out to you directly. I did receive an inquiry. Sometimes we get questions. Someone asked if the village would ever consider, and again, I'm just relaying this on to you, would ever consider fining homeowners who are taking down historic homes to fund the incentive program.
So that is something that we talked about a year and a half ago, especially when we were talking about like demolition by neglect. There was-
That's a big thing
Yeah.
for me, is I would love to see that.
And so it's
Incorporate
still
it.
on the list of, once we get through some of these nitty-gritty things of the historic overlay and getting our first list created, I think we're gonna reopen that box, look at that again. There
Sure.
was something in the original draft ordinance that our attorney put together, and it's been a while since I looked at it, that I think had some self-funding mechanisms through, citations. But I
Sure.
don't know how many cases we actually had and if that would actually be a,
Because talking to Tim, right, that it's fairly rare that a builder cited.
correct.
I learned that
Yep.
through
So that's why I
720
think we
South
need
Elm.
to, now that we've had some perspective over a year, I think we
Right.
need to go back and relook at some of those things. But it's still on our list to look at next.
Okay, that's good to know.
But I know there are communities that do that, of they have, some communities, and I don't know how it works, if that's something we can do as a non-home rule community, but, there's an additional fee for demolition permits that they put into a preservation fund. Those are type of things we can always look at as well.
Right, right. And that's the sticky point, right? There's so much, great code for demo by neglect, but it's all home rule.
Yeah.
So that's what I just don't know. There's a gentleman who just recently was inducted to the Hinsdale Central Hall of Fame from 1970-something grad of Central, who has now gone on to create a historic district in Dallas. And so he's been reaching out to me. Newbie is his last name.
Yep, Doug.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And so I would love to hear from them. Dallas is tough. Again, Dallas is home rule, but so many of those smaller communities outside of Dallas, right, are very historic. I, in my conversations with, architects in Dallas, it's always Preston Hollow. Like, it's always so interesting to me where their code lies, if they default to Dallas proper code or if they have their own. And I'm guessing they probably default to the municipal code, I'm guessing. So that might be where things get tricky. But, so yeah, hopefully we can get some information from him.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of speaking with Doug once over the phone, and I would say that, I think it'd be great if we could bring him into Hinsdale
Yes.
and, do, some sort of talk with him about preservation efforts that they're doing out in Dallas. It's my understanding the suburb that he's in that's blanking my mind right now is very similar to Hinsdale in a lot of ways, where they have a lot of large, older homes. It's very affluent, so there's been a lot of demolitions for even larger, more mansion homes.
Right.
So I think he'd be great to
think so,
be a
too.
resource for us.
We'll find out who we went to high school with, and he can room up with them.
That's right.
Stay a night or two here and talk.
Okay, so 150th anniversary.
So you guys, some of you who were here at the last meeting, we have a new assistant village manager, Andre Peterson, who's going to be replacing Brad Bloom when he retires in February. She is now taken on and she's trying to get acclimated with the village. I think she's been here for almost 2 months now. So she's kind of taking that on. We have a meeting coming up later in the month, and she's going to be hitting the ground running, and we're hopefully starting to sort that out. The last month's meeting was canceled, so we're happy that it's going to get restarted now.
Good. I have a meeting with Lizzie Boredom at the library.
I
tomorrow
do as
morning.
well.
Okay. Wait, tomorrow?
It's not tomorrow. I think it's
She emailed me. She's very excited
she's
to
very
meet with you and
excited.
Rob.
Yes. So we can talk about that after.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think there might be some opportunities with the 150th, and based on everything that's just happened with, our historic preservation incentives of doing some co-programming with the library. So yes, I think it'll be really.
She's going to meet. Safina's in town, Uberay.
Yes.
So we're meeting tomorrow morning. I did real quick want to say that I have received feedback from, or not feedback. Realtors have let me know that the former Craybill home is coming back on the market.
Oh.
And allegedly Don McKenna is the listing agent. And I have been forwarded screenshots from realtors seeking to show the home with no response from Don.
I have not heard of that until right now. So
It's back on the private listing.
Okay. Yeah, we will follow up. I'll make sure everyone's aware of that tomorrow at Village Hall. I mean,
Okay.
this is a project, in case anyone's listening at home as well. This is a project that the village would absolutely want to support the preservation of. That house is really important to our village, and we have great incentives now that we can offer to help someone preserve that home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So hopefully it's just, you know, a, logistical waiting period, and hopefully we'll be able to get some people in there, potential preservation-minded buyers, so we'll see.
Is it listed in the MLS? We can check that.
That I don't know. I don't have
Probably ought to
access
check
to the
that,
MLS.
see on what basis she's showing it.
I just know that agents have inquired and haven't heard back. But that very well could be, full transparency. Maybe she's, waiting to finalize the listing on her end before she can show it. So we'll see.
As with any project, if you guys ever have any contact information or want us to reach out to anyone, please feel free to forward it. We're happy to start trying to engage a listing agent or property owner and make sure that they're
Sure.
aware.
Do you have any updates on the former Sexton home on 8th and County Line?
Not at this time.
Is that the square one or
Red brick.
a red brick?
We've just had a lot of residents
Side
and
Street.
commissioners reach out to us about concern about its demolition, but nothing has come forward to the village at this point.
Okay.
But that is another home that the village would absolutely love to help a homeowner preserve.
Yep. God, preservation might become very de rigueur. Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, this is the beginning of a good educational component, which is what we've been missing, so
Absolutely.
take this momentum and keep moving the ball forward, right?
Or it's a nice cocktail party point of conversation.
No, sure.
To, and then that's it.
Okay. Robbins Park Historic District gateway signs, what would you have us do?
Okay, so, I don't know if you guys want me to go through this again. It's been in the last couple packets. But I know we've had, smaller commissions than normal. So we did hold off the last couple meetings, but I'm happy to go through this really quickly, make sure everyone's okay with this. The goal, because it is towards the end of the year now, is that we're gonna rebudget this for next year. In the same amount with the same plan in mind. So it's just because it's kind of too late in the game at this time of the year, and then we have to think about splitting the budget. It creates some challenges here. So this will be included next year, and we're hoping that this obviously continues on. But in the meantime, we want to make sure, obviously, this is still just the draft document. We're going to rewrite it a little differently if we have to go out to bid for this, which is still the intent. But at least we just want to make sure that the plans that are shown here are what everyone is kind of envisioning and agrees upon. Just go into full screen. All right, so just to refresh everyone, we had the 4 primary gateway locations for these standalone signs, and then we were kind of looking at 3 additional alternative locations that we can either include as an alternative in the current bid or potentially do some future, planning for down the road and kind of increase once we have that design. There are obviously some things we still need to, figure out, but these are at least our potential locations. There might be some constraints with utilities. We want to obviously talk to the neighbors and public services, but at least we wanted to hone in on our locations. So the first one we originally had on the corner of Garfield and Chicago. We've kind of moved it in a bit, and in general, we looked at either, people were kind of divided, but most people preferred the west corner on Blaine and Chicago. And just stop me if you guys have any comments. We've kind of been in the same location for the second sign on County Line Road in Chicago. This one, the area is a little bit deceiving in terms of how much right-of-way we have, but we're fairly certain that we can push it over as the gateway as you're driving into County Line. And then I don't think we had too many changes to location 3 and 4. We have obviously County Line in 8th and Garfield in 8th. And then this is where we get into a couple of our alternative locations. So we kind of went back and forth to remind everyone of like, should we put one near Garfield and First? There's a lot of sign clutter going on, or there's just a lot of signs in general. We also do like a lot of our downtown banners in this location. So we were looking at maybe doing an alternative sign here. And we can also work with a sign person down the road to figure out, should it be a standalone sign? Can we relocate this truck sign? Are there other things that we can look at? And then we did discuss maybe having one towards the inward on First Street. And we kind of liked the idea of something maybe near that driveway entrance for Grace Church. And then we also looked at possibly a location on County Line and First Street. This is obviously a historic corner right near and a really important Zook house. So this was also a good gateway entrance. Oh, I don't know why that's cut off. And then obviously in our bid document, whenever we put that out, we're going to have examples of our wonderful new street toppers so that there can kind of be some design incorporation in that. And then kind of the other signs that we have in our downtown that we've talked about potentially doing something that isn't exactly like these signs, but kind of can play into it, whether it's colors, fonts, just so everything has a cohesive feel. Even though we have talked about kind of keeping Robbins Park a little bit in its own distinctness, we still want these signs to all talk to each other. And so these are just kind of examples of some of the other signs in the village. And this is kind of a summary of overall the signs that we've kind of looked at here and there. Everyone generally preferred, these are obviously going to be in closer to residential homes, so we wanted something a little bit smaller, single standalone sign with, some black aluminum or black metal, and obviously non-illuminated and considerate of the historic components in the area. And I've taken out a lot of the signs we didn't like. So if you see something here that you still don't like, please let me know. I know that number 4, no one necessarily liked that green color. And same with number 3. I think no one actually liked the brown, and maybe there was some scale issues. I can always add those comments in, but at least in general, we kind of liked these single post or, maybe cantilevered, but we want something that would be a fixed cantilevered sign, not something that anyone can vandalize, remove, or can blow away. So I have all these notes in here, so don't worry. And then for the sign face types, just as examples to show someone down the road of like the way we're thinking, these were the examples that were left over. And I think that was the last slide. So any comments so far? Changes, thoughts?
I just had a thought that, we were talking about maybe that 5, 6, 7 would be a later, like a phased in, but I don't know. I mean, you're talking about 4 signs versus 7 signs. I don't know if there's any cost efficiency in getting everything all together, which would be worthwhile. So I would keep them in the mix until we find that out.
Yeah, so when we were looking at this, and we kind of have done this in a couple of other bids where we can add like 5, 6, 7 as an alternative. So they'll give us 2 prices, right?
Okay.
They'll give us 1, 2, 3, and 4 because those were our base, ones that we definitely want to make sure we get in this round. And then if 5, 6, and 7 right now are still within that amount we budgeted for, we would obviously be able to move
Because
forward.
they're only going to
If
get
not,
more
we'll-
expensive.
Yeah, and if not, we'll re-budget for the following year.
And your budget anniversary date is what now?
It's the end, December 31st is the end.
You're back on the calendar.
Yep. And then I believe last year, we estimated about 30,000 for this project.
Okay.
So hopefully, but with signs have been really a challenging item. Since COVID, a lot of the sign companies are still backed up and still facing pretty high prices. So we'll just have to see what happens. I think some of the prices are going down though. So hopefully that'll benefit us and we maybe can get some more signs.
Good.
Any other questions or comments?
I guess one more thing. If we're doing this, we've talked about having those gateway signs out on 294. Are those something that we pay for? Or is that the tollway.
So, one of the really good things that I've talked with Andre with, and you know, she used to work in LaGrange, who has some of the signs that you're very aware of. We did talk about this because I know this has come up with the 150th, and she seems to have a way to do that and be familiar with it, of what they did in LaGrange. So we'll keep that separate. I don't really know the process, but we have already started talking about it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but it's exciting because she already has done that.
It's
So.
interesting, yeah, that LaGrange has one and Hinsdale never had one.
Yeah.
It's,
And when we first looked into this after that 150th, and we've had a couple of conversations, it made their website made it sound like you can only have one on each sign for towns or for cultural landmarks. I don't know if that was correct, but we have to go back, or maybe someone told us
well,
that.
the thing that makes no sense to me is that you're driving through Western Springs to get to LaGrange.
Yeah,
We were just on top of it.
but I'm hopeful that will be something that we can look at in the future as well, because I know that's been discussed many
Yeah.
times. So.
Awesome.
Good.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody want to talk about?
My only other thought is going back to the list of homeowners that have submitted and are interested. If you want help with history, let me know.
Yeah, that's very helpful, because I will.
Yeah, definitely let me know.
The good news is, like I said, I put some of that information on a shared drive that I sent to
Yeah.
everyone. I've since updated that spreadsheet, just
Okay.
because since we've had these, since we had those articles sent out, we've had a lot of people contact us. So it's kind of a daily thing where I'm like still adding to the list. But I have pulled quite a bit of information. There's a couple of homes here and there I might need some help with.
Okay.
But the good news is, I haven't really had to think about some of these homes if they're historic. We do already know that they are. So there's just a few here and there that are a little bit outside of survey areas.
And I'd love to help too.
Yeah. But it would be really helpful, like I said, I'm still putting some marketing materials together, website stuff. It's always good to have, extra eyes and
And I'm
help.
happy to do that.
That would
as
be
well.
wonderful. So I should have that done in the next week or two to send out.
Perfect.
And then I know you and I talked earlier about the plaque program. I sent you a very, very rough draft of dusting off our original plaque program letter and
Yeah.
how that might kind of dovetail with this overlay district. So hopefully we can get that up and running too.
Yep. And I do have, I've been coordinating with our finance department to see if there is any funding right now or money left in the HPC budget for this year. Because that might be something that, we can look at of what we can do with that money before the end of the year.
That would be great.
Thanks.
And then also the 150th anniversary, we have a big exhibit at Emmanuel Hall. And I know that that's not your jurisdiction, thankfully. I know you were hoping that someone would pass the baton when Trevor left. But I know that that's come up a lot. We can, a little bit, to print out some boards for our exhibit.
Yes.
Great. Well, I'm glad to see our preservation programs up and running.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming, and thank you to everybody for their perseverance on this. It ought to get a little easier now that we've got the cart inclined down the hill rather than pushing it up all the time.
Yes.
Okay. I guess the last item I would say, certainly not soon, but on the horizon, I'd ask Jim Prisby to dust off his work that he did on lighting and signage
Yeah.
in historic areas. I'd like to jump back in on that.
Sure.
When we have the opening for that, if you'd be so kind. Good.
Will do.
Okay, that's great.
And one of the things that we've been talking about internally is our sign code rewrite as well. I think it was talked about a couple of years ago before my time, and I know we want to dust that off too, and hopefully prioritize that for this year. So,
That'll dovetail with our
Yeah.
conversations. That's
so
fine.
if obviously anything like that moves forward, HPC will be highly involved in that process.
Good.
So,
Right, y'all.
Excellent.
Can I have a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.